Hi friends, this is CA Kiran Kumar. In this video, let's move into the next part of the GST series, that is charge under GST. So in this topic, we are mostly discussing about reverse charge under GST. So this is the most important and interesting topic. So you have a good clarity over RCM after completion of this video. So don't skip at anywhere. See at the end of the video so you have a better understanding along with the examples. Let's move into the topic. In general, the liability to pay GST is on the supplier of goods or services. But in case of a reverse charge mechanism, the liability to pay tax is on the recipient of supply of goods or services. There are two types of reverse charge mechanism scenarios on which RCM applied. The first scenario is specified goods or services covered under section 9 subsection 3. And the second scenario is in case of a supply of specified category of goods or services made by unregistered supplier to the specified class of registered persons. In the first scenario, notification number 13/2017 has notified following category of supply of goods or services. Let's see one by one. In case of service provided by goods transport agency, generally goods transport agencies have two options, that is 5% and 12% forward charge. Here 5% means the recipient have to pay. This 5% is under RCM, covered under RCM, and 12% is forward mechanism in which GTA will levy the GST and it is the responsibility to pay. So GTA has the option to choose 12% or 5% by itself. So if the services provided by goods transport agency, that is GTA, to any factory, any society, any cooperative society and any person registered under GST, and any body corporate and any partnership firm or any casual taxable person on which GTA has not chosen the option for 6% on forward mechanism. In such cases, the recipients, in this case factory, society, cooperative society and all these were recipient are liable to pay GST on RCM basis. However, RCM will not apply to services provided by GTA by the way of transportation of goods in carriage by road to department or establishment of central government, state government, union territory or local authority or government agencies. When the GTA is applied to these, RCM will not apply, and the services provided by an individual advocate or senior advocate to any business entity located in taxable territory. In this case, the business entity is liable to pay RCM advocates, and in case of services supplied by arbitral tribunal to any business entity, in this case also the business entity is liable to pay GST on RCM basis. And number 4, sponsorship services. Any sponsorship services provided by any person to any body corporate or any partnership firm located in the taxable territory, then this body corporate or the partnership firm located in taxable territory are liable to pay GST on RCM basis. Here, what is body corporate? Body corporate means any company, foreign company or firms. All these were included in body corporate. I will explain you later for the body corporate definition. And in case of services supplied by central government or state government or UT or local authority to any business entity, then the business entity is liable to pay GST on RCM basis, but some services are excluded. Let's see. Excluding services are renting of immovable property and services by way of Department of Post by way of speed post, express parcel post, life insurance, agency service provided to a person other than state government, central government, territory or local authority, or services relation to an aircraft or vessel or inside or outside precincts of an airport and transportation of goods or passengers. In this case, RCM will not apply if it is providing to the registered person. The government has to pay on forward mechanism. And in case of under 5A, it is mentioned that services supplied by of renting of immovable property to a person registered under GST, then here the registered person is liable to pay GST on RCM basis. In the 5, it was excluded, and by introducing 5A, it is charging under reverse charge if you are providing to any registered person. And supply of services by way of transfer of development rights. This concept arises during the real estate sector. So any services by way of development rights to a promoter like developer. In such cases, transfer of development rights, the developer or promoter is liable to pay under RCM. Services supplied by a director of a company or a body corporate to the said company or body corporate. In this case, the company who is receiving the services of the director is liable to pay GST on RCM basis. And here, regarding director case, remuneration in terms of salary and other than the salary, we will discuss later in this current video only. So I am moving to forward. Any services supplied by an insurance agent to any person carrying insurance business. So he is acting an agent to the insurance company. Then the person carrying insurance business is liable to pay GST on RCM basis. And recovery agent to banking company or financial institution or NBFC. In such case, the banking company or financial institutions or NBFC or financial company are required to pay GST on RCM basis. And in case of a music composer, photographer, artist are like providing these services to music company or producer or the like located in taxable territory by way of transfer of permitting the use or enjoyment of copyright covered under section 13(1)(a), then this music company is liable to pay GST under RCM because the music composer or music director is allowing to use or enjoyment of the copyright of the services. And supply of services by an author by way of transfer of permitting the use of the enjoyment of a copyright to publisher. Then in this case also, likewise for the previous case of music composer, the publisher is liable to pay GST. And however, an author can choose to pay tax under forward charge. This case is only available to the author, not to the music composer. He can pay the GST on forward charge on his option. This is only possible only if he has taken the GST registration under the GST Act and filed a declaration for choosing the forward option. He has to file a declaration for choosing this option to the government, that is to the department. He has to write a reply like, I want to pay the GST under forward charge, and he has to mention the declaration on the invoice also while he is issuing invoice to the publisher. And services by way of members of overseeing committee to Reserve Bank of India. In this case, Reserve Bank of India is liable to pay RCM. And individual services supplied by individual direct selling agents other than a body corporate partnership firm or limited liability partnership firm to bank or NBFC. In this case, banks or NBFCs located in taxable territory are liable to RCM. And services provided by business facilitator to banking company. In this case also, banking company located in taxable territory are liable to RCM. And services provided by an agent of a business correspondent to the business correspondent, then the business correspondent located in taxable territory liable to pay GST. And the security services, you are providing security panel to any company or any registered person, but the person providing the security panel should be a person other than a body corporate, means other than a company to any registered person located in taxable territory. Then he is liable to pay the GST under RCM. And services by way of renting of motor vehicle designed to carry passengers where the cost of fuel is included in the consideration and charged from the service recipient. This is very important, provided to a body corporate. In this case, the person other than a body corporate who supplies services to a body corporate, and the recipient must be a body corporate and the supplier should be a person other than a body corporate and doesn't issue invoice charging 6% to the recipient to body corporate. In this case, the body corporate is liable to pay GST under RCM basis. Services supplied by a person located in non-taxable territory by way of transportation of goods by a vessel. In such case, the importer located in the taxable territory is liable to pay GST. And other than this, some supply of goods mentioned here are liable to GST or taxable under RCM basis. And let's move to the second scenario of supply of goods. And 9 subsection 4 of the GST Act is saying that if a registered person purchased goods or services from any unregistered dealer, this unregistered dealer means only for certain goods or services registered from 1st February 2009, then the registered person is liable to pay GST on the reverse charge basis, but the list of persons are not yet notified by the government. We have already mentioned in case of GTA, two rates will be there, that is 5% and 12%. In case of 5%, the recipient will pay the GST because this is RCM, and 12% means forward charge basis. The GTA will charge on the recipient and the GTA will pay the tax to the government. And if the recipient is unregistered individual person, this is most important. The GTA is providing services to an unregistered individual person, then it is completely exempted from GST. And person liable to pay GST on renting of motor vehicle service. We have already previously discussed in the RCM services. So again we can clearly say that the service by way of renting of any motor vehicle designed to carry passengers where the cost of the fuel is included and the consideration charged from the service recipient are taxable to two rates, that is 5%. This is included in the RCM list as per 9 subsection 3, and 12% is also there. This is option where the supplier is opt to pay GST on forward charge basis. If he opt to charge GST in this basis, then this is not applicable. If the supplier doesn't choose this option, and such case RCM will be applicable. So RCM will be applicable only when the supplier is other than a body corporate. This is also we have already discussed. If the supplier is body corporate, RCM will not be applicable. And the taxability in case of remuneration paid to directors. In case of payment of remuneration paid to directors, there will be two situations are possible. When you are paying to the directors, you first need to ascertain whether the director is an employee of the company or not. If the director, independent directors, or those directors by whatever the name called who are not employees of the said company to such company, then such remuneration paid to the directors is taxable in the hands of the company under RCM basis. Irrespective of the name, we can say that executive directors who is like an employee of the company, then the remuneration will be treated as salaries and it is subject to TDS as per the salary provision, that is 192 of the Income Tax Act, and it is not taxable to GST because this is excluded as per Schedule 3. We have already discussed in the previous series, you can check it there. And GST on the real estate sector, there will be two rates in case of GST under real estate sector. This transfer of development rights is also a part of the real estate sector, but I have already mentioned in the previous 9 subsection 3, you can check it there. And in case of GST real estate sector, for the new projects by the promoters, there will be two rates applicable for these real estate sector, that is 1% without ITC on affordable houses. Affordable houses means the area of 60 square meters in the metro and 90 square meters here you can refer. And other than affordable houses means non-affordable houses, 5% rate will be applicable and there is no ITC available on these rates. And however, this is most important condition, one of the most important conditions most of the people should know about this. The value of inputs and input services purchased from the developer, purchased by the developer from the registered supplier is less than 80%, the promoter has to pay the GST. The promoter means the developer has to pay GST on reverse charge basis under 9 subsection 4 at the rate 18% on all inward supplies. If the developer purchased 79%, then remaining 1% he has to pay on RCM basis. Suppose he has purchased 78%, on the remaining 2% he has to pay on RCM basis. To the extent of sort of 80%, like that. Further, when cement is received from the unregistered person, then the developer is liable to pay GST under RCM basis. And another important topic, that is levy of GST on airport dues. First of all, we should know that the authority managing the airport is called airport operator. The airport operator charges the airport levies. Like if you see the flight ticket, you can find this fee, passenger service fee and user development fee. It will collect from the passengers through the airlines, because the airlines will charge these two services on behalf of the airport operator. So you can find it in your flight tickets as well. So these charges will be indirectly levied by the airport operator. So the charges collected by the airports as an agent of airport operators are not consideration for services provided by the airlines. So if you see in the flight tickets, the GST will be levied only on the basic fee plus other charges, not on these two charges, because these two charges are collected on behalf of the airport operator. So the airport operator, for payment of GST of these two charges, provided it satisfies the condition of the pure agent, the airline is not responsible for the payment, and the airport operator are collecting these two charges are inclusive of GST. So inclusive of GST, and the same will be paid by the airport operator to the government for the GST part. And now we are moving to the most important topic, composition levy, composition scheme levy. The scheme is introduced for the benefit of the small taxpayers. Let us discuss who are eligible for the composition scheme and what are the conditions need to be satisfied for choosing this scheme. Small taxpayers with aggregate turnover in preceding financial year is up to 1.5 crore are eligible for this scheme, and the supply and the person engaged in the supply of services other than restaurant services. This is applicable to goods, this is applicable to service, but this service excluding the restaurant service, whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is up to 50 lakhs is also eligible to choose this composition scheme, and they can pay at the rate of 6% directly without taking any input. The persons who are covered under this scheme are not required to issue tax invoice, but they have to issue bill of supply. Simply they have to issue bill of supply, because composition suppliers will not collect any GST part from the recipient or from the ultimate consumer. So, and rates of this scheme are for goods 1% of the 1% in case of manufacturer, and that is 0.5% for CGST, 0.5% for SGST, and restaurant service 2.5%, 2.5%, and others 1% of the turnover. And for services other than restaurant services, which we have already discussed here, that is 6% of the turnover. And what are the conditions and restrictions of the composition levy? The person opting for composition scheme is neither a casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person. These two persons we have already discussed clearly in registration chapter. Please go through it. And the person who opting for this scheme should not include these two persons, because these two persons are not eligible to opt this scheme. And the person opting for composition scheme shall pay reverse charge also wherever applicable. Reverse charge is also applicable on all inward supplies as per these two sections. So if you are choosing the composition scheme also, the you can't avoid RCM supplies. Wherever applicable, you have to pay GST on the RCM supplies. And composition scheme is not engaged in the manufacture of notified goods, namely ice cream, pan masala, tobacco, and aerated waters. So this scheme is not applicable to the persons who engaged on these notified products. The person who opted for this scheme shall mention the words that composition taxable person shall not eligible to collect on supplies. At the top of the bill of supply, you have to mention these words by saying that we are composition taxpayers and we are not eligible to collect any tax on supplies, like that. And you shall mention the words composition taxable person at a permanent place at his premises, who are not eligible to opt for this scheme in case of goods and in case of services. The supplier engaged in making any interstate outward supply of goods, interstate movement interstate supply of goods, then he is immediately ineligible to opt for this composition scheme. In case of services also, if he is providing interstate outward supplies of goods or services, he is not eligible for this scheme. And the person supplying the goods through e-commerce operator, suppose you want to sell your goods through e-commerce operator, like if you want to sell your goods through Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra, any of the platforms like that, then immediately you should take regular registration only, and you can't take the composition scheme benefit. Even if you are supplying food through Swiggy or Zomato also, you are not eligible for composition scheme. Only regular dealers only are eligible to supply through e-commerce operator, and it is like for the services as well. And the manufacturer of ice cream, this is already excluded by specified goods, so the persons who are supplying these products are not eligible to opt for this scheme. And the supplier engaged in making any supply of goods which are not leviable to tax, suppose he is providing exempt services, then he is not eligible to, he is providing exempted goods or services, then he is not eligible to choose this scheme. And the supplier who is either, this is a casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person, is already excluded, we have already seen in the previous topic. So these persons are not eligible to opt for the composition scheme. And a registered person opting for composition scheme for goods is allowed to supply services as well other than restaurant, to the extent not exceeding 10% of the total turnover in the previous year in a state or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So the maximum limit extend to the 5 lakhs. So this is for the day. Thank you very much. For more interesting updates and the important parts of this GST series, please subscribe to my channel and share. Thank you very much.